beautiful. It was a while ago I felt this feeling from a panel, or I got kind of emotional. It is very beautiful seeing someone coming to terms with themselves, especially in a situation like this. And what makes it beautiful is just seeing Hiori brimming with the confidence and acceptance, especially in this panel. And he is, a very reserved guy as well, so it does come off stronger. I think that is the point. Two examples that has come into mind. I mean, there are different variables in the message, but the art is pretty strong in both in these examples, and it has some correlation to it. It's like when Gon, from Hunter x Hunter, accepted his anger after realizing that Kite won't be revived. Or Aomine accepting his faults when realizing that Kuroko was the key to the second door. Both showing emotions on the characters after realizing something, and I think that's one of the biggest parts as to why I got very emotional for this panel. Now, Hiori's situation is way different than the two's, like I mentioned, but you should get the picture, right? And just to make it simpler, we can compare to other people in Blue Lock. Almost any noticeable character have done a breakthrough and make changes about themselves, except Shido and some others, but Shido is the one that probably will never show some new acceptance about himself. He knows who he is, but so you get some perspective on what I'm trying to say. Now, every breakthrough is different because people are different, but let me tell you why Hiori's ego is the most beautiful one in Blue Lock. So to begin with, he is very different, just because what he had to accept was not like the others, like a weakness, a bad past, or just emotions in general. What he had to accept was basically himself as a whole. He had to come to realization who he is as a person. And it is kind of sad story. He has been living with pressure his whole life, the thing with his family. He was pretty much born to be number one and had that pressure his whole life. But we all know it. In the end, he just became a shut-in, not really doing anything. And he pretty much lived with the belief that his reason to live was to find a fire to be number one, because that's who he is, or was supposed to be, number one. But finally, he kind of stops being a shut-in, right? He can come to Blue Lock, still being very reserved. But after a while, now in the latest game with Isagi, he finally finds the fire to put everything on the field. But it does fail, right? He goes against so many different pressures and emotions and fails. But what that makes, what happens is that he can finally start over and begin anew. Now, in his mind, he wants to quit, right? But what basically saves him from not quitting is Isagi just calling him out and being like, one more time, let's go. And it's also, I think, very important in the way he said it, right? The last part, where he goes like instinctively, reflectively. And it kind of makes just Hiori just focus in the moment and put the pressure aside. And he does feel the pressure, right? Even after just a few seconds or minutes or whatever. He starts wanting to quit again after Isagi puts some pressure on him. But it's probably after exhausting off dealing with the pressure from before that makes him think a bit differently. And it's kind of there where the beautiful part starts, right? When he actually starts to think about himself and think about what he wants. And yeah, the beautiful thing is that if he actually holds the power to be the best, then he actually don't want to be the best. He doesn't want to be someone that changes the world. But now, after coming to terms with himself, he knows that he can pick someone instead. Pick someone who he wants to see changing the world. I think as people, most of us are like this, somewhere inside us. We do want to help people we love, or like, or just people in worse situation than us, and we want them to succeed, and we do take pleasure in helping them. But at the same time, we aren't really under the same pressure as the people in Blue Lock, and we aren't aren't even chasing our dreams right in our life, just trying to live our life the best as we can. But I would say if we do look at the people that start being successful and start chasing their dreams, we could relate it more to other egos in Blue Lock. You can be like King, living by your own terms, believing that everything you think and do is right, and you do have to live by your own accord. I think that's very relatable. And also when you do start being successful and you start getting hate or other stuff, you can do like Rin, just say fuck you, and just double down on your emotions and just doing your own race, I guess. But it is possible, right? It has to be possible. I know it is possible that people can still have a very kind ego whilst trying to succeed their dreams. But kindness is kind of looked down upon, right? You don't really even see it as an ego, and you will always be a bit of a doormat, always number two. But that's the thing, that's the message I got from these panels, is that no, it's not like that. You can still be very confident in yourself, you can still be yourself. It's just that you have different values and different views from other people. It doesn't make you less capable, it doesn't make you less cool even. It's just that you're different, man. I mean, I do really like Hiori. I've liked him as a character since, he gave Isagi tips about this focus, reflex and shit. And I also do think most of the community really do like him as well. But I also feel like his ego did go under the radar a bit. So I just wanted to touch upon that a bit more and also relate it to real life. Now, I didn't really like the development though in the latest chapter, after the game, where he's a bit cocky and says shit like, I'm discarding any striker who aren't fit for my passes. I do hope the author explore more on his ego, since he is the other person beside Isagi that kinda has a kind ego. If you don't really understand what I'm saying with that, you can check my other video where I am talking about Isagi and why his ego is kind. But let's see how it goes, because right now after that, just that sentence, he kind of becomes a CEO number 2, right? Didn't he say the same thing? But I am excited to see how he will develop as a character. Last message would be just keep trying your hardest, man. Finding yourself is not really easy, but when you do it confidently and do it beautifully.
Yeah.